What's going on, my beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of In the Moment. Because in the moment is when life happens. I used to have this acting coach, I should say professor, and she made me change my acting game by telling me, take my scenes moment to moment. Because that's when my performance would be organic, authentic, moment to moment. So, in the moment is when life happens. Hope all is well. Today is what? Uh, Monday, February the 20. What is that? Monday, February the 17th, 2025. Sorry about that. I believe it's President's Day. Everybody's off. It's a holiday. And sorry I didn't upload an episode last week. Last week I actually had my mom over. Yeah, she was here for the entire week, and it was beautiful having her over. Haitian moms. They have their ways. They could be a little overbearing sometimes, overly dramatic at times, but it's all love. Yeah, she just spent a little time here with us, and it was mostly her and I, because the kids went to school, wife went to work, so I got to really sit down and have breakfast with her, lunch with her. We stepped out a couple times. We watched like the whole Equalizer trilogy, which she loves. She's like a big Denzel fan, man. She's always like, "Hey, you better be careful. Tell your father be careful before I make Denzel your stepdad." So it was a good time, and although you know Haitian mothers could be like, Haitian mothers, I feel like they need a lot of attention all the time. And I had to give her that attention. I had to give my mom that attention, or else she's just gonna turn around and tell everybody I treated her like fatra, which is garbage in Creole. I treated her like garbage. He don't treat me good. I don't want to go back there ever again. Okay, you treat me like an animal, and I hold you in my stomach. They always gotta remind you that they gave birth to you, and it's really when they feel insulted, disgraced, degraded by their child or children, they will remind them, I hold you in my stomach for 10 months, and this is how you treat me. This is an abomination. Where else were you supposed to hold me? But I feel like as our parents get older and as we get older, even though it's culture for them to treat us like babies all the time, I feel there develops a level of respect and understanding, as dramatic as they can be. So I was able to have conversations with her, um, conversations that I probably could never have back in the day. And it was beautiful, touching. So I definitely recommend you spend quality time with your parents, especially as they get older. It's not just sitting down and eating. Like, have a conversation you never had before. Watch a movie, go out, go away, spend a night in a hotel. Do something different. You know, um, they raised us as best as possible, and well, I'm talking about the good ones. So I feel like it's while time moves forward, we should strengthen our relationship with our parents, because it's going to make us better parents, whoever is a parent out there, which I feel it has. Trying to have certain conversations with my parents, because old school Haitian parents never want to have conversations. Most of them, It's their way or die. So it was good. It was a good time, and definitely looking forward to do it again. My dad, on the other hand, he probably would never come spend a week with us here. Maybe a couple hours, but then he gotta go. Not that we wanted to go, but he's just, he got that militant style where it's like, okay, I have to go. Traffic. So, yeah, lovely guy though, just militant. Sorry. Yeah. So anyway, shout out to everybody who subscribed so far. I believe we have about 10 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, give it up for that, man. I haven't checked like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or where's the other one that we're on? Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I forget the other one. I wonder if there's a way to see how many people actually stream the podcast there. But on today's episode, I just want to talk to you about a couple of things that came up this week for me. One is Valentine's Day. This Valentine's Day, I had to travel. This Valentine's Day, I had to travel. I was on the road this Valentine's Day, and before I left around like 4 a.m. Before I left, I left some flowers for the wife and a gift. Usually, me with flowers, um, I like to I like to get like a nice vase, a unique vase. Like I don't go to like Home Goods or well, I can't say I don't do that. Um, I do that every now and then because they got some nice stuff at Home Goods, even Macy's. But I go to like thrift shops, or like Facebook Market, Craigslist, garage sales. I try to find like a unique looking vase if I'm gonna get flowers because the stuff that you could find out there is just some of it is worth some money too. But they're like really, really unique looking, and it just brings a feeling of not just home to your place, but a feeling of pricelessness, to your place when you have one of these vases. I believe so far from me, she probably has about 9 different vases. And we have like a spot around the house for her. Just about all of them that survived my kids. I believe they might have smashed one or two accidentally. So, and I left something for my daughter as well too. I left her a single rose with some chocolates, and it's like in a mini vase. I should say it's just in a champagne glass. Her rose. Uh, and I have a son. My son is 16 years old. I've never given anything to my son for Valentine's Day in my life. It's just nothing that I've even ever thought about. You know what I mean? Me growing up, I've never received anything from my parents for Valentine's Day. Well, maybe my mom once or twice. Okay, I can't say that. Maybe my mom when I was really, really young. But getting into like preteen and teen, I don't think that ever happened. So it was a weird thing for me. While I was driving, my wife, she gets up, she thanks me for the flowers and the gifts, and she sees the rose I left for my daughter that's there too, and she's excited about it, and she's like, "What about my son?" And I'm looking at the text like, why is she asking me that? She's never asked me that her whole entire life. He's a teenager, and I'm like, why are you asking me that? And she just felt that I guess at the stage he is in his life and what he's going through in terms of growing up, it would be a great token of love, almost. You know, um, and I googled it. I looked it up. I'm like, I asked Google, I asked ChatGPT, is it normal for a teenage son to receive a Valentine's Day gift from their father. And believe it or not, they said yes, which blew my mind away. And, a lot of these polls I thought may be geared towards non-melanated folks. So, I even did a poll on my pages, which, mostly, of course, mostly Haitian Americans follow me, but I have a large Caribbean base. And funny enough, a good amount said yes. And it just had me thinking, like, really? I never saw the significance of it at all. Valentine's Day to me was just a day on the calendar for money to be generated on the outside. Usually a bouquet of roses might cost, what, 20, 25 bucks? And they're like 50, $75. I live in New York City, for those who don't know. On Valentine's Day, they'll boost prices up like that, like big time, easily. And yeah, so I didn't give him anything, but I did. I cashed at him a couple of dollars. I'm like, hey, it's Valentine's Day, and I wanted to show you some love. So here's a couple of dollars for you to go get your favorite snacks today, because he likes to snack on things. And he said thanks. That was it. I said I love you. He just said thanks. That was it. So I don't need. You know what? I've never even had a conversation with him after to see if that was weird for him. But I don't think I'll do that again. I don't know. I don't feel like I really got anything out of it, and maybe a conversation has to be had with him and I where to see if he got anything out of it. The difference between me and my parents growing up is, I communicate with my kids. I have conversations with them, so I could sit down and have a genuine conversation. At first, sometimes you start a conversation, becomes a little awkward, but once we warm up to each other, it's just a cool convo that we can have about it. And I'm glad I have that relationship with my son, with my daughter, my kids. What about you guys? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about giving your teenage son something for Valentine's Day? You know, uh, I was raised by old school Haitian parents. I went to Catholic school, and it was Valentine's Day was almost a day that was put aside for women, girls. So I've never looked at it from that angle ever in my life. Of course, you got a girlfriend, she gonna give you something, but that's not the whole point, because what she gonna give you, like some cheesy little chocolate thing, you know what I mean, a cheesy card, while you gotta go out there and make her feel special. But I cannot lie, I had certain women that I would date that if we were together for Valentine's Day, they would go all out, which was amazing for me. And I'm like, oh, you got that for me? Oh. So, yeah, it's a good feeling. What are your thoughts on that, guys? I think number two I wanted to talk about was this might be a weird topic, but it's sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis. So when you look up sleep paralysis, it says sleep paralysis is a brief episode when you are unable to move or speak while falling asleep or waking up. It's usually harmless and can be frightening. Symptoms: inability to move or speak, hallucinations, such as seeing, hearing, or feeling things that aren't there, feeling of pressure or weightlessness, feeling like there's an intruder in the room. The causes: this is the exact causes unknown, but it may be linked to mental conditions, substance use, or certain medicines. It may occur when the sleep cycle shifts between stages. Treatment: in most cases, sleep paralysis occurs so rarely that treatment is not needed. Improving sleep habits, such as going to bed at the same time every night, can help. In the cause I'm sorry. If the cause is known, such as lack of sleep, correcting the cause can resolve the conditions. When to seek medical advice. See a doctor if you experience sleep paralysis regularly, and discuss the conditions with your provider if you have repeated episodes of sleep paralysis. So there's also this meaning here when you go into like REM sleep, and REM stands for like rapid eye movement. That's like when you're about to start dreaming, basically. REM sleep paralysis is a condition that occurs when you wake up from REM sleep and are unable to move. It's caused by a misalignment between your brain and the body during sleep stage transitions. So basically, for those who don't understand what this stuff means, I'm gonna tell you what it means in my words. When you're falling asleep or when you're waking up, especially from a dream, basically your body. They say your brain sends messages to your body to basically paralyze your body, so your body doesn't act out its dreams. So the thing is, sometimes there might be a misalignment where you wake up in the middle of this, so your body can't move, and not just that, you could be halfway dreaming, and and you find yourself in a position where you cannot move because your body doesn't want you to hurt itself. And also, there's a whole spiritual. I mean, I feel like there are more spiritual meanings behind it because I was watching a bunch of videos where people say when they go through this sleep paralysis, like they see things like demons and ghosts and like you know what I mean. Like they see figures. They could see somebody sitting on them, holding them down. I think everybody has a different experience, really. And the reason I'm talking about, I heard a comedian do a joke on sleep paralysis, which I've experienced sleep paralysis, and it's not a fun feeling at all. Basically, like I think I was waking up, and I was up, and I could see everything in my room, but I could not move. You know what I mean? I didn't see any figures or ghosts or demons or anything like that, but I could not move. It felt like there was like a really really heavy weighted blanket on me, on over my whole body except my eyes, so I could like see around the room, and I couldn't move. And happened to me just a handful of times, and I'm like, yo, what was that? Um, it doesn't happen often, but it has happened a couple of times. And it just has me thinking about how the body and the brain works. You know what I mean? And what's the connection? Why do certain people get it and certain don't? Is it a spiritual thing? I think people who are heavy into spiritual education or even church, I think they're gonna go with it's a spiritual thing. But if you talk to somebody who's well versed and educated in psychology, they're gonna say it's a human thing. It's normal. It happens. And then you have those people in between who might think both. What do I think? I don't know. To be honest with you, I still don't know because sometimes, like when I get it, I might have to I could feel myself like trying to wiggle out of this thing. I'm like, oh man, this thing is happening again. Where I'm sleeping, my body's sleeping, and I can't even move. You know what I mean? Um, I'm I'm fasting, by the way, for like 2 or 3 days, only because I had when I we're gonna get back to the sleep paralysis, but when I travel, my eating is horrible. I eat like trash. So come back from traveling, I feel like I need to re-jump my system, restart my system, and just do a quick 3 day fast to just help my body out, push out toxins, regenerate cells, and balance out all my levels in my body. So water all day. but I am taking supplements. Yeah, back to the sleep paralysis thing. Um, it's weird, and I understand where both of these arguments are coming from. Both the psychological, of course, that's the way God designed the body. You're gonna dream. You're gonna paralyze your body so you don't try to act out your dreams and hurt yourself. Obviously, and on the other side, it's like when it comes to the spiritual realm of things, I feel like it's just like when you try to accomplish something in your life. You try to accomplish something in your life, everything tries to stop you. You know, you focused and really trying to reach your goals is an attraction for things to stop you from reaching your goals. It's like automatic. It's an attraction. And staying focused and pushing hard is the only way you'll get through. I feel like it might be the same thing on the spiritual realm. Like, hey, maybe you might be trying to change your life, and some forces like, you trying to what? I got something for you. So, I find that weird. Have any of you ever experienced sleep paralysis? I would say my worst experience was, like I said, I've only had a handful of experiences, but my worst experience was like I fell asleep on the couch, right? Like I fell asleep on my stomach, and I woke up, but I couldn't move, and I'm trying to like, I felt like I was trying to do a push up to get off the couch, and I had to use all my brain power and might to like rip out of that thing. I felt like the Hulk, and as soon as you rip out of it, it just feels like nothing. It's just like boom. Like what was that? So, the psychologists say get good sleep. That's the number one thing. And, my sleep patterns definitely sometimes they're like really off, especially if I have to be on the road. So I can definitely say that. And get good sleep, good diet. And on the spiritual side, I can also say, hey, when you try to make changes in your life, that attracts negative forces. So I'm the guy who's in between. I don't know too much about it. I've experienced it. I've done a little bit of research on it. I've read some articles. I've watched some videos. I've watched some people personal experiences. Some of the experiences on the YouTube, you guys got to go see. It's scary to see what some of these people go through. And knock on wood and praise be to God that it don't happen to me, because some of that stuff is just freaky scary. So yeah, sleep paralysis, man. That's weird. I still want to look more into that and just maybe it's a superpower. And the people don't know. Maybe it's a superpower. You know what I mean? Last thing I really wanted to touch on was an open mic. I have been going to one or two open mics, but I ended up starting my own open mic. I did because I, I feel like it's a better segue for me to really find my voice on stage as a comedian. Um, so it would allow me more time on stage and allow me to hone the craft. For people who have never done stand up comedy, I speak about this all the time. Um, so if you like to play basketball, or if you let's back up. If you want to play basketball, you really want to play ball, you're not going to be a basketball player just by watching basketball. That's definitely a great start. Watching basketball, learning the history of basketball, learning plays, learning moves, writing out plays, studying the game, studying plays. That's a great thing. But if you don't get out there on the court, you will never be a basketball player. Ever. because on the court, that's where basketball players are made, man. There's one-on-one games, five on fives, 21, just shooting the ball, man. That's where basketball players are made. They're not made in your basement in the dark. You can pray about it. You can meditate about it. You could write about it. You could watch about it. But you need to get out there and put that ball to the concrete. And not just one time. You have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And comedy is the same way, stand up comedy. What makes stand up just slightly a little bit more, if you want to use the word difficult, that's fine, is your environment. You can have a set of jokes that works with one set of people and that will just go over another set of people's heads easily. Great comedians have material for days, weeks, months, and they can even improv comedy and humor, which I'm pretty good at improving. Um, but putting a set together requires not just writing and watching stand up and studying stand up. No. You could even hop on Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT to help you with jokes, which which I've tried, and it's it's not there yet. Unless you try to do, some one line cheesy jokes, you know what I mean? But hey, you gotta get out there. So, I started this open mic and I went there last week. I didn't even get to get on stage last week because last week was our first week and it just didn't work out the way I wanted to. But this week, hopefully, I get there, we get a few comedians and just burn through some jokes and try to hone the craft, try to find my voice. I went to a Haitian comedy show recently, a Haitian comedy show, and the reason I say Haitian comedy show is because if you weren't Haitian, you probably wouldn't understand what's going on. You know what I mean? So it was funny, but it was just for that specific group, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But with my life experiences in my journey, being Haitian was part of it. I just have so much more story to tell. So I'm trying to balance everything out because I still want to talk about how it was for me growing up. And at the same time, I want to talk how life is now because although I do have that culture in my blood and in my soul, it's different. So that's what I'm working on. If you are in the New York City area and you want to come to the open mic, remember, I'm working on jokes, so are the other comedians. It'll be free admission for you. Just hit me up, email me, and we'll get you in. And the last thing I want to talk about is your mindset, shifting your mindset. The mind is a powerful, powerful gift from God. Your mind can make anything happen for you if you believe in it. Energies are real. If you're going to stay in a negative space in your mind, you're just going to be attracting negative energy. Negative attracts negative in the realm of energy. Because in math, negative times negative is a positive, right? um, I was having conversation with my son. My son runs track, and he was injured a little bit. He got injured, and I could see the injury was taking a toll on him mentally because he felt like this is never going to happen for him. He has specific goals that he has in track that he would like to meet, and he injured himself not once but twice, and I saw him going down a negative spiral. He was always just talking about the negative aspects of being injured as an athlete. And it's tough, especially as a teenager who's just finding themselves, and you find something that you're good at, and then boom, you got to deal with an injury. And I felt that my job as a parent was to keep him in a space of positivity. That's all I could do. Keep him in a space of positivity because, hey, you're injured and that's real. You know, you got to be down for a while and that's real. But it's not the end of the world. You can come back from an injury. You can go back to a space where you wanted to be. You can even discover something else during your injury. So it was a process for me because me growing up, of course, not that my parents would bash me all the time, but they had a different approach to motivation, and it was saying negative things, and it was saying negative things, and I think those negative things pushed me in the direction of where I am now, because they had different visions for me, and I feel like if they encouraged me and supported me and spoke into my life about the things I wanted to do, I probably would have gotten here a lot earlier. But hey, you know what? I can't even say that. Timing is timing. And that's just the way it is. So with my son, it was like it was a process where I had to talk to him every day. Um, we put some signs on his room. I was showing him videos of adversity. And of course, the number one video I showed him was Jordan and his flu game. For those who don't know, Michael Jordan is the GOAT, whether you like it or not. And he had a game where he had the flu, and the flu was killing him, and he still came through and delivered. And that's just a testimony of true drive, true positivity, true determination. When you set your mind to something, you can easily accomplish it. And that's something you set it to could be positive or negative. So you got to watch out. You got to be careful. The mind is a very powerful tool. And of the mind, the mouth speaks, so the things you speak are powerful as well, too. Yeah, you might be going through something rough. You might be in a rough patch, but don't add to that. You got to find the good in the roughest situations. Talk to somebody. Read some books. Watch some videos. Pray. Read the Bible. Look, there's certain things in life that are more difficult to handle than others. But being in a space of negativity doesn't help the situation at all. You got to push through. Look, there's so many things that you might think are impossible in life. But if you start from the inside, from your mind, and your mind tells your body you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Powerful. There are some people whose minds are so powerful, and I know this is gonna sound crazy. They can move things with their mind, man. I ain't never seen it, but I heard it, and I believe it because of the way our brain waves work. You know what I mean? So, listen, everything starts on the inside of you. When you pray for things, when you're focused, when you're determined, look, everything starts on the inside of you. You could make or break yourself. Setting goals and praying, that's only a percentage of the battle. You need to step into whatever it is that you're trying to do and help yourself, push yourself, stay positive, man. It's so easy to go into that negative space, and that negative space spirals down fast. Man, you don't got to do that. And with my son, it was just that. He would be in his room just sitting down, doing nothing, just thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna make it back out there. And he's back out there right now. He's slowly working to where he was, and I know by the spring he'll be right there or surpass it. Everything does happen for a reason. I believe that. And when those things happen that you feel are not on your side, don't add to it. Adding thoughts of negativity to a bad situation just makes it worse. And you don't have to go through these things alone. Because shifting a mindset is a very difficult process. But there are methods: meditation, praying, reading, education, watching videos, talking to people, seeing other people's story of true adversity. Positivity. I saw Dick Gregory. He's an activist comedian, and he said he got news that, I guess he had cancer, and he told his wife, like, hey, I have cancer. And she started crying. And he was like, what you crying for, man? He's like, I ain't going nowhere because I know I ain't going nowhere. You know? And he's like, when you have those type of assertive affirmations from your mind to your body believes in that. People have healed themselves with their mind. I ain't going nowhere. I know I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna put that link down there for you. He says when you're assertive like that, like you tell 100 trillion cells what they're gonna do. So if you tell them you're gonna die, you're gonna die. But that energy behind it just releases so much negative tension. And it's a jump start to shifting your mindset. I know I ain't going nowhere. So, yeah. For those who have kids out there, when they going through their things, embrace it, because it's okay to be down. It's okay. But at the same time, affirm them. That's what we're here for. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to another episode of In the Moment. I do have some guest episodes shot already. I think I will be releasing them in March. And some of them are really good. The others, even better. So look out for that. Like I said, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I cannot remember the last one. All the links will be on the bottom. If you want to be a guest on the show, depending on what you do, email me. If you want to come down to the open mic, email me. If you have a product that you'd like to sponsor here on the show, email me. Much love, much blessings.